Yo, my name is Jords and welcome to Almost a Conversation. This is a podcast about conversations that we should be having. And these are my two school friends, Jamahl and Tobore, known them both 15, 20 years plus. And, you know, this is just an extension of our group chat. And we are looking forward for you guys to check it out, subscribe and listen on all the normal platforms that you listen to podcasts on. So this episode is about something that I think all three of us are quite passionate about. It's about the growth of black-owned businesses and supporting our community in that kind of way, you know. So, first question I want to ask you guys: what was like the first encounter that you guys had with a black entrepreneur? You know, that's a word that gets thrown around. It got thrown around quite a lot when we were younger, but we didn't.
Yeah.
I'd say my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad was the first one I can think of. I
suppose what was your first initial thought of what an entrepreneur was back in the day when?
You know, I didn't even think I know the word. I didn't really encounter the word and understand until I started watching The Apprentice. I never looked at my dad as an entrepreneur. I just thought he owns his own business. That was all I thought. And then it wasn't until I started watching The Apprentice, going to college, and I'm like, so what is an entrepreneur? Is it just someone who works for themselves? What does it mean? What kind of characteristics do they need? I think it's just an idea that keeps developing. Keeps developing. At one point I thought an entrepreneur was something very different to what it is now. So I think it's a developing thing. I think it's a bit fetishized as well now.
I think it always has been.
Think so?
If I'm honest, like if I say my first encounter, I remember just you know when you used to watch MTV Base and stuff, and then I remember, I think it was like there was a phase when you had Diddy coming up and you had Jay-Z coming up, and then 50 Cent, and everyone had the shoe line, everyone had clothes. And it all start with music, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, big business, all of this, you know what I mean? And then, you would have people that, like, it was the rite of passage. Like, a rapper will come out, make a big song, make a line of shoes, make a clothing line, and then they're an entrepreneur, do you know what I mean? But now when I see it, because I follow this page about some of the deals and investments that a lot of musicians made that are quite lucrative, and there's so much more to being an entrepreneur than just owning a shoe line and being a rapper. I used to think an entrepreneur has to be someone that's famous and
in the limelight rather than in the background making certain moves happen.
Exactly.
I suppose that's where it comes from, the fetishizing of it. It's that it's always in what people see an individual doing rather than what the person's doing.
Exactly.
But in terms of my first encounters, probably as you said, T, I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. It's just someone that owned their own business. But I will say my uncle, whilst he was working for BT's standard job, he would always start his building side on the side, always working. Like, this guy never stops working, and
even to this day,
fruits of his labor has shown. He was the person that the family would go to. We need a little bit of help with money and stuff. Like, yo, there you go.
The rich uncle, innit?
Yeah, the rich uncle. So that's probably my first encounter with someone who's entrepreneurial.
Even when you say that, my godfather, I remember one time I went to my godfather's house and he had the Sky. He had this TV box. It wasn't Sky, but he could get any channel on it. And I was like, he just said, like, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch football? Because I got it. And I used to have 1 to 5. And I was like, how do you? He's like, don't worry. But if you know anyone that wants it,
hit me up.
Hit me up. But then at the same time, he used to be a car mechanic. He used to build websites for people and just stuff like that. So you know that guy that just does everything, like a proper wheeler and dealer. Like, he's one of them. And I think that's a very early form of an entrepreneur. Because even before that, I think we spoke in another episode about when we were in school, and I used to sell pens. I used to cook food in food tech, chicken.
That's wild. That's crazy. That's dope.
I came home and I spoke to I was like, oh, mum. She was like, oh, where's the food that you cooked in food tech? I said, I sold it.
I remember this actually.
We could never done that at my school because the food tech teacher would just eat all the good food. Like, facts, she'll leave it there. She'll like, you have to make it cool down. She'll yum it, fam.
Serious?
No, you're lying.
She'll munch it.
Yeah, that's
half of it will be gone. Like, I remember,
and no one complained.
Well, how could you complain? To who? To her? To the head teacher? Like, no.
Are you eating my food, bro?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can't eat man's food.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's wild.
My mum would kick up a fuss. If she bought, that's why she was vexed, because she paid for the
seasoning
and all the rest of it and the chicken.
And it's a big deal as well.
And then I went into school and just sold it. Like, she wanted me to bring some home, but then when I spoke to my dad was like, "Oh, that's good."
There was always the kid in school that used to sell, go to the Tesco, buy donuts and packet sweets and just sell them individually when you shouldn't be doing that. But
where do you think that's from, though? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you
I think it's need for peas.
Yeah.
Well, because the people I know that did it. Yeah. Sorry, Jamaal. The people I know who did it, they wanted a bit of bread. And the things I did that were a bit entrepreneurial, it's because I wanted a bit of bread. So when I think about it, it's because I think it's A, the need for that, and B, just thinking outside the box. Just thinking like, how do I monetize something here? Do you need that? Okay, no, you don't need it. Let me grab that. And then you go to school and think, all right, let me see what I can do. You might come back with 50p. And I think that's the bit of being an entrepreneur that people forget. Like when you're starting,
you don't make no bread.
Nah.
You don't make nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm sure I probably would pay £1 to buy pens, and then sell them for 20p each and make back £1. So I made no profit, but I'll be going around I sell pens
no one in my school sold pens. It was always sweets.
Yeah.
Always sweets and stuff.
Yeah.
But croissants as well.
Any type of food.
Yeah.
The big wheeler and dealer in my year in my school was Joy. This guy was profound for going to Tesco in the morning. We used to get off couple stops before. He would stay on the bus, go to Tesco, get his stock, and come to school. He would make £100 plus a day.
No.
Serious? Yeah, he used to make money.
What's he doing now?
He's got houses now.
Yeah, he does houses, and so I think he just was that way inclined. He didn't need money. His family were doing okay, all good. But I think he was just that way inclined. Like he knew people wanted it, so he was like, "I'll supply the goods for people."
That's another thing I was thinking about. Yes, I was thinking about this yesterday. I can't remember why, but so when you let's look at the hip hop scene now. You look at the people who are big entrepreneurs now. You have 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Diddy. They're like I see them as, and Dr. Dre, obviously.
Yeah. You say Kanye?
Kanye, in a different way. The reason why I say that though is because 50 Cent came up selling drugs. Jay-Z came up selling drugs. I don't know. I'm not too sure about Diddy, but I think
I doubt Diddy did. No offense.
But my point is, you see when, and same with Joy. Joy grew up trying to make a little change here and there.
Yeah.
Maybe seen as, or that was perfectly fine. But you have a lot of people that make illegal money and do it well. Let's be honest. And then the minute they start making legal money, they start doing it just as well and killing it. Do you think that is a grind that's instilled in them from something? Yeah. And then another thing I'd say about that as well is do you think, how do I say it? It's there was a thing before when there was a 14-year-old, it might have even been Elon Musk when he got caught hacking the FBI or something like that. Yeah. And it didn't send him to jail, they gave him a job. Do you think something like that needs to be put in place for the community now, when you have people that are they're doing well, let's say they're doing well if the graft is selling drugs, but they can do so much better if they put that same energy into something that's legal or something that's productive, but instead they're kind of thrown into this
good question.
Criminal bracket.
I think sometimes some of it is just rebelliousness for some people, because there are a lot of people doing their own thing and they're not making as much as they may appear.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know how much of it is people just being rebellious and how much of it is people really looking outside the box.
Yeah.
So I think that term, so it's kind of hard to decipher the two, but I do think there should be something in place where there's a program or something for people, because I think giving an entrepreneur a job is basically putting a lion in the cage.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna really do too much for them. So maybe more schemes to help people start their own businesses. If you see that these people are actually making good money off the grid, why don't you get them on the grid to make money and produce it and put it into society? So there should be something, but that deciphering between rebelliousness and...
I think it will be because there's something appealing to the trapping lifestyle. It's that it's obviously fast money, and the lifestyle it also brings as well also lures people into it. So
I think it's more appealing to the black community.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more appealing to the black community, because I think when you look at the black community, and when you look at like films and things that are in popular culture about the black community, it's either musician, drug dealer, or sports person, innit? Like literally, that's
Or slavery. You get slavery a lot.
or slave. But like, I mean, showing the
positive. Yeah.
You, like, let's look. One of my favorite films is Paid in Full, or American Gangster. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like them kind of things, and them films show you don't really think about the bit after when they get caught and when everything goes to pot.
You're sad at the end of American Gangster when he gets caught.
Of course, but you never think about that. You think about when he's in the mink coat, and he's on the boxing
so it's an appealing lifestyle,
like
and imagine all that money, tax-free fee.
Tax-free.
The mink coat's what got him caught as well, really, secretly.
Yeah, but no one cares, bro. You never think about that. Or even the Paid in Full, the best quote is, I love the game, I love the hustle, like, all of that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think about when he got shot in his head and all the rest of it. You just think about that. So I think, do you think there needs to be a space where I don't know, how do you think we encounter that, and how do we show people in our community that there is something? Or do we just build it and then show in our example? Do you know what I mean?
Bit of both. And I think as well, because the second part of this is generational wealth. If someone can stop your breadline, you're never going to build generational wealth. You're just not going to. It's just too difficult. Obviously, we can all get stopped, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of like trapping, it can get stopped or fraud. It can get stopped at any point. And the idea is, the hope is for a lot of people that are entrepreneurs is that you realize the game is a bit rigged. So you're trying to play it for yourself. But if that can get stopped, you have to understand that you've got to find a legitimate way to make peas. You've got to, really, because this is only going to last for so long. And I think sometimes, like Jords says, showing them that, don't show them the mink coat, show them the end.
Yeah.
Show how Frank Lucas actually spent most of his life after that.
So he was in jail for a lot longer than he was rich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that last concept of generational wealth, that money that lasts beyond you, actually beyond your kids, really.
Yeah.
That can't happen if you're in jail, in and out of jail.
Yeah.
That can't happen if your line just keeps getting stopped. You have to rebuild it.
Yeah.
I think showing them that side is a bit more, hopefully, I don't know, but hopefully it hits more. Hopefully.
Do you think that's starting to happen now? But you have things like Black Pound Day. You have a lot of, like, you have Crep Protect, I think. You have people like J2K.
Yeah.
People like Stormzy's doing Mercury books and all the rest of it. And there's a lot more of it happening now, I think. But then, it's hard because you have a lot of that happening, but I feel like more attention is being shone on negative stuff.
Yeah, I hear that.
We're deeply conditioned to...
Did you not see Lowski's interview with ZZ Mills?
I haven't seen that. What's it saying?
Well, he says
clips of it.
he says the stuff he's talking about is just a facade. So I think if that bit there, where you understand this is a film, this is a song, maybe a hyper exaggeration of what my life really is, and it's just for fun, it's just to gas you up, plus those positives that people are trying to do, maybe you can see through the cracks, maybe. But it is hard because when you're young, we know this, we all know this, it's appealing.
Yeah. It's the audience that it's being projected onto. It's like they're very influenced by a lot of things. And if you're just show them movies and stuff like that, they're like, yo, Paid in Full, that these guys are making bread. Maybe I can do that with their naive mindset. That
all I need is not a snake in my group. That's what you're thinking, really, when you're watching Paid in Full.
Fully. And you think, oh yeah, it's different for me because because whatever.
But yeah, I think there's definitely, it is moving in the direction of more black entrepreneurs, and the consciousness of the community is going in that direction, I would say. And being aware that, do you know what, if I can shop at a black owned business, then cool, why wouldn't I? But at the same time, I don't think we should just, if it depends on the product, obviously. If the product is not the best, you still have to think about that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think there's definitely more awareness of that side of things.
I still think there's a bit of a divide because, like, I don't know, for me it's about ownership, innit? Like, the main thing is ownership. So we have to own whatever it is that we're doing, or whatever it is. What was the thing that I said before? own who we are, own what we do, and
build what we
own. Yeah. So I think owning what we are, owning who we are, and owning what we do is good, and we're starting to do that. I think the building what we own is the part that's missing, because I'm really tired of social media at the moment. Yeah, but I remember going on social media, going on Twitter, and I saw a debate going on because there was a woman who's an artist, black artist, and she's selling her artwork for, I think maybe like £200 or something like that.
Yeah.
First question was, why is it £200? But someone can just splatter a little bit of paint at a wall, and because they have a name and they have art that's out before, they can sell them for 50 grand, 100 grand.
Yeah,
but
I think that's definitely in the black community. It's like they either try to get it cheaper, try to get a discount, or you're my brother, like give me a little piece off.
Yeah.
Or they question you like, why is it this amount? But they never question going outside the community when they pay for X, Y, and Z.
When I go to Tesco, I don't ask why I don't ask why cocoa butter is that much.
Yeah.
I just pay. You get me? But when or even like, I remember having a show and selling tickets, and the first thing people ask is, guest list. Guest list this, guest list that, or I don't know. But now I feel like it's hard, because you kind of have to get to a stage where you show why it's this much, and then you can start to do other things, and then people won't question you as much. But I don't really think that should. I think that's a bit of a stigma that's in place that shouldn't exist as well.
Do you think, because I've noticed this a little bit, that if there's a big corporation, big person, or majority of the time a white cosign on that business, that's all of a sudden we justify the price.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, I remember people were talking about Kanye and his interview with Joe Rogan recently, and they said, he's still trying to appeal to, I think they said upper class white people with the kind of music, sounds, art that he's trying to do. And I thought, he keeps talking about selling to the black community.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to see it more that if black owned businesses get a white cosign, they're legit. They can charge you whatever. That artist can't do that, the one that's doing the £200 paintings, because they ain't got the white cosign yet.
Yeah.
What gives you the right to make you think that?
Do you think it's a white cosign, or do you think it's a person of status cosign?
I think I would say white cosign generally, but personal status can fit as well. Because Trapstar, they're doing great, and they get endorsements more.
Because Rihanna used to wear it back in the day, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
No, I think, well, I suppose people follow clout. As soon as something's, more people are aware of what you do, then they're like, yo, let me rock that.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing ages ago about this young black owned business. I think it was an apparel brand, and Chris Brown hit him up. It's like, yo, I love your designs. Can you send me some stuff? I'd love to wear it. And the guy was like, yo, dope. Chris Brown's hollering at me, but that's gonna be $60, please.
Yeah.
And Chris Brown was like, wait, what? $60 for I'm Chris Brown, fam. I'm not paying for the clothes. And you got to think that obviously giving Chris Brown the clothes will obviously make his brand blow up. But at the same time, he's a struggling business owner. Like, it's a.
You should have taken the gamble, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think you should have.
Yeah.
Well,
$60 ain't everything to Chris Brown.
True.
So we got the chains that we're looking to sell soon. Yeah. So I messaged Masego. A lot of the people that I messaged about gifting them, I messaged Masego and I said, I want to give you one of these. He said, I'll take one, but I need to buy it. I just need to buy it. I'm not going to let you give it to me for free. I need to put some money in your pocket. And I think now people are starting to see the value of building it and actually starting a, what's the word? Microeconomy where people are paying for services rather than we're just giving each other things for free. Like cause we're doing something and it deserves something, so give it what it deserves. Do you know what I mean? Crabs in the barrel mentality, all the rest of it. But why do you think? Because I never knew about that before. I didn't really see that before. Why do you think it's only that kind of energy is coming now? Do you think it's because what's happened this year, or
a little bit? And I think people are starting to. There's bigger theories into this year, but people are starting to realize the game is rigged. And like, if you want to generate power wealth is important. It's not the only thing, but it's very important.
Yeah.
And if you can put that in a insular community, you can generate real power. When you can affect people economically, you can affect change more likely. And I think that's why people are more inclined to all right, you're charging something that I may not want to do or pay, but a bit more willing to do that. I think before it was that mentality, oh, come on, man, put me on, because if you give it to me for free now, I might pay for it later. Where now it's like, let me just pay, because let me support my own community because of everything that's happened. And I think people are seeing the game more.
So do you think like the whole, because there has been a real movement, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a massive social media fan, but I think one thing that's really good is the whole introduction of Black Pound Day.
That's good.
As a big like movement, you know what I mean? And I remember seeing it, and the first thing I saw was why Black Pound Day? Why can't you do Black Pound Week? And I thought, like what do you know what I mean? I just thought, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?
I don't want to say anything, but people can be very, our community can be very negative sometimes. Anytime, you always find, we've been oppressed for so long, you just question everything. It could be Black History Month. Why Black History Month? Okay, I understand those arguments. I actually get it. But like, it's funny, we get something positive, and the first thing we do is, why? What's the point of it? We don't think, okay, this is a start, let's expand. You never really get that.
Gotta start somewhere.
Come on.
So you think things like Black Pound Day and just more like of a public energy towards buying black is a good start?
Definitely.
Question for you both: what do you see as the end goal, like ideal end goal? That's a difficult one.
Question.
I would say second part of this is the generational wealth thing. I think things that have happened just this year, as I get older, I realize like me having peas is not as important of me passing it down. And I think if people understand that concept, it's not that, because I remember I was talking to someone and they were thinking about having a child, like, I can buy my kids clothes. Cool. And I get it, like, because you come from a place where like you were grateful for being fed every time. So now you can buy your kids nice clothes. But like generational wealth is further than that, where you're like, when my kid finishes, maybe it be college, university, I can give them something. I can give them a job, or I can give them a business to work on. Like, it's not just buying people things. I think if we understand the concept of like handing things down, being able to put your child on the property ladder without them going through the struggles that we have to go through. That is that step.
No, definitely.
The really important step.
I remember, I went on tour a few years ago with this band. They were called the Parades at the time. All white guys, really, really nice guys, And one of the guys, we were all turning 21 over the time we were touring. So everyone had their 21st birthday, their 21st birthday presents. I don't even remember what I got for my 21st birthday. I think I got like a watch or something, like a little, a nice watch, nice. And I'm very grateful for it. But I remember the drummer, was it the drummer in the band? The drummer in the band, for his 21st birthday, he got 21 shares in Apple. And I thought that's a sick present, man, because then that person's never going, that's something that person's going to have for years, and it's just an instant, it's like giving someone a house, do you know what I mean? It's just like giving someone a house. And I think that same, like you're saying, the understanding of that, like, why do you need clothes? If you want to buy clothes, I'll give you the means so you can make some money to buy yourself clothes, so it's not a problem. But what I'm giving you so much greater in value than a Gucci jacket. You know what I mean? Like, no one
fade
cares
away
about it,
in 5 years.
Yeah, one thing I remember seeing is that the mentality between rich people and poor people, maybe in Rich Dad Poor Dad, I think, I saw the concept, is that rich people see something, like, cool, got this £500 watch, I want to buy, I really like it. How do I make more money to buy that? Whereas poor people, like, how do I save money to buy that? So it's already a negative progression.
That's Rich Dad Poor Dad,
that's it.
But I think it's definitely down to passing things down. And you definitely see that with other communities, like when someone turns a certain age or when grandparents pass away, people have bands to get passed down inheritance.
I was even reading something as well about different communities, about how the pound circulates within their community, or the whatever currency circulates. And I think in the Chinese community, it's like if you have $1, let's say, it would circulate for about, I think, 21 days before it leaves the community. With the black community, it lasts 5 hours.
Crazy.
5 hours. Yeah. 5 hours.
And I think people who are not in our community and in our community as well, they don't realize how detrimental that is to our own progression.
Yeah.
Like how that is just so quick. In 21 days to 5 hours is like, that's stupidly different.
I also feel like nepotism is when you give someone preferential treatment, right?
Based on your family.
Based on your family. And I believe in nepotism.
I'm for it. I don't understand the problem
in the right circumstance. Yeah. I think nepotism is good, but I think us as a black community, we are either conditioned to believe or whatever. The reason why we believe nepotism is a bad thing, and we believe like we should look elsewhere before, or like, so for example, and there's so many reasons behind it. Like I remember one time, we had some people come and fix my fence, and we have these people. We have a guy called Rodney, a Jamaican guy. He usually comes around and does most of the stuff on the housework. But for some reason, my mum wanted to get someone else to do the fence. So there was they reached out to whoever was there, and like I think 4 white people ended up coming and fixing the fence. And they did a terrible job. Like they did a really terrible job, but they charged double the price that Rodney would have charged. And I remember speaking to my mum after and think, I just thought, what made you want to do that? Like, what made you want to do that? Why? She said, because they charge more, I assume they did a better job. You get me? So
did she say anything negative against Rodney?
No. She said, well, they charge just I think he wasn't available or something. Like that. Something simple.
Just to bounce off that, I recently got my garden done at my crib, and we got some Jamaican to come and fix it up. The Don did a terrible job, fam. And one thing that my mum said is like feeding into that stigma of that's why you don't go to that's why some black people are just not on job.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that countless times.
It's weird. Like it's a weird kind of tug of war you're in.
Yeah.
We're our own worst enemies, man.
Yeah, literally.
Worst enemies.
I believe, obviously, if you're an entrepreneur, you should be able to do the best job possible.
Yeah, I agree.
Don took ages to do the job. Like, it was just a bad experience.
What did he do? What did he do for you?
Refurbished the whole garden. That's what we wanted to be done.
It's the whole yard food shop dilemma, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we keep going back.
That's so dumb, you know.
We keep going back because the food's banging, yeah.
But I've heard people say I can make it in my yard. If you can make it in your yard, make it in your yard.
No, but you know what is my thing is the customer service is terrible.
It is terrible.
But it's so terrible. But
we let it happen. With the yard experience, it's like that's what you go like. If the customer experience is terrible, you know the food's banging.
No, but that's not true. That's actually not true. The thing is, we say that's true. I think we say that's true as an excuse.
I hear it.
As an excuse. I don't think it's actually true. I think we're just
conditioned to.
Like imagine going to wherever. Yeah, I don't even know STK or GBK or I don't know any. Or Miller & Carr, any white-owned business that sells food, and the service was bad. First thing we do is complain.
Yeah.
First thing that would happen when we complain, the customer service will come back and be like, do you have the name of the person that served you on
vouchers and stuff?
And they deal with that. Here's some vouchers. Here's some da-da-da-da-da. They say, no, you ain't got nothing. You come in, you have chicken? Nah. You got beef
what
and
you
cheese patty. We don't have that. You're like, all right. So,
did you not see that thing trending on Twitter? Yeah, there was this girl. She went to a Nigerian restaurant. I don't want to bait them out, but they're quite popular.
Is it in the South?
Yeah.
Is it in West Norwood?
No, it's in I'm gonna bait it out. It's Oak Kent Road, like Oak Kent Road, kind of thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
And she ordered jollof rice and something. They gave her white rice and the thing. And she's like, you gave me the wrong thing. And they're like, be sensible. And I don't mean, because I've been there and their food's great, innit? So I'm not trying to get onto them, but it's like,
That's a violent response, you know.
You should be fired for that. But I'll say this, yeah, because I don't know if it's Chick-fil-A or Popeyes, but one of them is notorious in America for having terrible and aggressive customer service.
Yeah.
To the point where people go there now to just experience how bad it is. So I'm thinking...
That's what with the yard food example.
It kind of is, but can they turn that into something? Do you know what I'm saying? Can we turn that very negative experience, which we all actually find funny in a way, although it's jarring because they never have the food you want. Can we turn that into something positive?
I suppose, yeah.
Like a tourist attraction almost.
Yeah, but that's my point. So like, for example, smart people would find a way to monetize that and turn it into something that's profitable. Like you would.
What are you trying to say though?
We don't do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't actually see the gap in the market like that. I think you have people that stand out. So I remember even just small things. So I remember Terrell Lewis, yeah?
No.
Boost. Back in the
day.
Yeah. Someone put out a big think piece about him being unemployed and jobless. So he brought out t-shirts and has hashtag jobless and made money. It's just simple things like that. I think that's an entrepreneurial mindset that people need to get into. Even like, for example, even this, like we were just chatting and I was like, oh, can we just make a podcast and make something out of it and make something tangible that we own and that's turn it into an asset, because it's a day-to-day habit of ours. So let's turn our habits into assets. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think everyone thinks like that in our community, and also we don't hold ourselves to a high enough standard to do these kind of things as well. Do you know what I mean? But it's starting to happen slowly. It's starting to happen slowly. I think we're starting to hold ourselves to higher standards, but we also need to be respectful that we're trying and we're still very new in this as a community. We're not used to owning things.
And I think like we were saying, and like you said about the customer service, I think sometimes black-owned businesses don't know how much they actually represent. Like to see a black-owned business, a black man own his own shop, that's powerful. So when I'm asking for chickpeas and you're giving me prawns, you've tarnished more than just your restaurant. You made me think, yard shoots are long, bruv.
Yeah.
Question.
And they don't realise that.
Question. Do you think as a black-owned business, the minute someone's known to be black-owned, there's a pressure on them or a weight?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Because it goes back to the thing about one black person represents the whole community in the eyes of both within the community and outside of the community. So if you have that judgment on you initially, then of course.
Yeah. But then do you think we need to be a bit more forgiving?
I think treat each other as individuals. Like, you can't judge, but obviously based on experience, but you can't judge a new experience based off no evidence at all.
I think so. I was seeing Obama did an interview the other day with Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And one of the big parts was, they said, do you feel like you did enough for black people? And he always said, when you become a black person, you enter a certain space. And this one, we're talking about owning something, yeah? You're judged very, very harshly. Very harshly. And it's almost, you're judged by standards that are almost impossible. You can go to a restaurant that's actually quite good. You have one bad experience. This is why you can't mess with black people when it comes to their thing. So I think it's going to take, again, it's one of those things that's going to take years to overcome, because we do judge people very, very differently because they are black. And owning a business, we see it like, you don't know what you have. You don't know how special it is. So when you see anything that kind of diminishes that, or it's a poor representation of that, it does let you down a little bit. I'll be honest, I do feel that they've let the team down. But at the same time, they are an individual, and they may not have had chickpeas that day.
That's my thing. I mean, rather than, I think it very quickly, when it's the black community, I think it very quickly becomes a witch hunt.
Yeah.
Which is wrong.
Yeah.
Which is cancel culture, all the rest of it. That's what I mean. Shouldn't there be an effort to be like, yo, let's help these guys. Let's tell them what they're doing wrong. the people who need, there needs to be a conversation where we like, oh, this is what we need. This is what you're doing. This is the shortcomings. They need to listen and be like, okay, we understand and hear what you're saying, and we are going to try and improve on this. Do you know what I mean? I think there needs to be some sort of dialogue and I think once you have those sort of dialogues, because I think this whole cycle of someone coming up and then the minute something goes wrong, we're going to tear them down. That's going to keep happening until we have those until we have those kind of dialogues.
I think people need to be receptive to listening though, because it's difficult to be, because some of these people, that own these yard shops or African cuisines, they're good cooks.
Yeah, fully.
They're good cooks and they're working hard. So when you tell them they're doing something wrong, it's more than just, oh, you made a slight mistake. It's way more than that. And I think in order to really get good at something, grow something, you got to be a student of it. Understand at no point have you mastered it. At no point. And I think people, because we've been to yard shops and we've said this is not right, and they're almost arguing with you as if you're wrong. I did not order this. And I think people need to, like, as much as we need to be patient and understand that we're growing something here and this is good, people also need to be receptive to listening and understand you are never too big for correction ever. You never know too much. And that is a very important part. Very, very important.
I think it goes outside of just yard food shops and just...
No, I'm just using them as an example.
That as well, but like, because even I think one thing that I'm finding really positive, like hair products and skin products. Buying them from black owned businesses, the products are better, man. Like they genuinely, like, look at my hair, bro. Of course. Look at my hair. I'm not you get me? Look at my hair, man. Like,
no.
I couldn't grow my hair. Do you know what I mean? And only now that I'm buying from black-owned businesses where I know all the ingredients that are in it, flourishing, bro. So I think,
and you don't realize that they've been doing that for years. That skill of making their own thing.
That's what I mean about turning your habits into assets, isn't it? Because a lot of people, like, so the person that I buy my products from, she, a company called YSA, she just makes products for her children, and she's been making products for her children.
You say she makes in a bathtub?
In a bathtub, yeah. It's from when they were born. Yeah, and it's just good. So she thought, oh, let me just sell it. I think that's another thing that needs to get instilled into us.
That's a talent.
It's like,
I think it's definitely coming up with our generation though. But even I think it was there, but maybe not as an abundance as it is growing into now.
I think we had this conversation before. I think the generation before us were living to survive.
Yeah.
Also, they didn't have the internet. This is you go direct to the consumer now. There is not that middleman where you're like, I don't know how to start it. Because I know some people who have started their own thing recently, and they're like in their 50s. And it's because you have that direct to consumer relationship. The internet has got a lot of negatives to it, but that is one massive positive. Positive.
That's true.
But I think also it is hard though, man. It is hard. Being a business owner, if you speak to them, it is really, really hard. So when we come with this criticism, we do have to also bear in mind that it should be constructive as well. Should be constructive as well.
So, question, with entrepreneurship and business, just knowing about business, do you think it starts with education, or do you think that's something that we've been lacking in?
Yeah, it definitely starts with education. Like, I think even growing up personally, I wasn't really taught different ways about making money. You were just taught, get a job, and that's it really. Whereas you just find out there's so many different ways to just get that bread.
Where does the education come from? Should it be from school? Like in school you're taught about it?
I think, yeah, definitely schools should be more diverse with what they teach in terms of different ways of earning income and taxes and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I don't think you should rely on the state too much to educate your children.
I got a question here,
So also home needs to be a big factor.
That's important.
Or community.
But I think if we're doing
I've got a question. Sorry, Jords, So we're talking about school, so we're thinking really what? Yeah, we're talking about year 7 to year 11 really, innit?
Yeah.
Remember being in year 7 and year 11? How the attention span of some of these kids, as you're an adolescent, to sit down and understand, okay, how to make money, the complexities of tax.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to process that?
No, but it's still in their subconscious. So like Pythagoras' theorem, some people don't even know how to calculate it now as an adult, but you still understand what it is. So if you have that in the back of your mind, you have to sort out your taxes, you'll come up with a key term to search, and then you've already have that backward exposure to it. So it's not fresh it's not fresh.
What, I disagree. I think that kids can pay attention, and I think give the kid the right thing to learn about. They want to do it. I don't care about Pythagoras' theorem. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't care. Like when I was being taught in school, they never told me why I was being taught what I was being taught. If they're teaching me about stocks and trading and property, and so saying, "Oh, if you do this, you're gonna be rich," or you're gonna have an asset that you can pass on to your children, and
that's slightly misleading if you taught someone like that, though. That'd be slightly misleading because.
Not necessarily. You're seeing the end. Do you know what it is? You're seeing the end product and what you're doing.
The potential product.
Me learning about Pythagoras' theorem, or right angles, or obtuse and acute angles, or any of the rest of it. I actually don't know. All it was to get me into university, to get me a degree, and then to get me a job, not to get me assets.
I think, yeah. Because I like when you said like your community and your family is important, because I've taught before. And the demands on a teacher is high.
100%.
High. And kids don't, like, honestly, I'm not calling kids dumb. I'm never doing that. But it is hard for them to really grasp these things. And sometimes I will, like, there's things that we can talk about and you want to go into more depth. But it's, like, the basics are quite hard to understand. So to teach someone the basics of how to get a mortgage, you might spend the whole term on just the basics, where they go, "Oh, what was the point of that?" And then it's an option for them in GCSEs, whatever, let me just do the stuff that's easy. So I think we got to be really careful about saying, like you said, you can't rely on the state too much, and then you got to allow kids to be kids. The fun part of being a child for us was we didn't have too much to worry about. And I think at some point, I think universities and colleges are more responsible because you're growing up, money is important. But I think when we're talking about young kids, people in year 7 to year 11, I don't know if it's going to help, because we had PSA classes. What was it? PSHE, where we talked about anxiety at one point.
Yeah.
Ain't no one took that into seriously. When Mr. McCarty was talking about, I was like,
at the same time, I understand where you're coming from, but the fact that they've been exposed to it,
it helps.
It helps. It does help. And also, when you go further into it,
seeing an end goal helps. Like if you see the end goal, if they say, this potentially, if you learn about this, potentially in the future you could do this. Whereas, literally, I dropped out quite early because
Jords, by the way, is really good at maths. People,
I'm great.
He's really good at maths. So because you're saying you didn't care. There might be a kid out there that ain't good at maths, and if he says he don't care, he's never gonna be good. You're good at maths.
I'm also a college dropout and a university dropout.
And
the reason why I was a college dropout and a university dropout is because I didn't actually see what me learning about these things were doing, innit? So like for me personally, if I'm going to university now, if I go back and do a degree, it's because I want to learn about something for a reason,
love of it.
Not to get a degree to get me a job. If that makes sense.
I think the things that get taught aren't given real world examples.
Exactly.
So in English, point, evidence, explain.
That's a great argument.
Key structure of an essay. Use that on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
You have your point, you explain it, and you make a comment about it. But you're not taught about how you can apply that in the real world. Even with Pythagoras' theorem, you apply that.
What's Elon Musk? What does Elon Musk do? He's an engineer fundamentally. Am I wrong? Fundamentally, he's an engineer. That comes from his understandings of physics and maths. I'm not saying people, if you learn maths, you're going to own the next Tesla. But like there's scalability with almost anything. I think I said in one other episode about like they never teach you how, like, if you're a smart person can be really good at arts, but you think traditionally a smart person is good at English, maths and science. I think if we show the scalability, like you're saying, like any of these can be monetized, and it's the skill to monetize it. That skill, I don't know how teachable that is.
But then at the same time, there shouldn't be. There's a reason why why all these Forex trading things are so popular on Instagram right now. You get these stories about, oh yeah, I was 21 and I did this, and then I did Forex and I became a something.
They're lying.
And then people are exposed to that at the age of probably like, let's say 21 or maybe 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's something that you have to do outside of school.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have people that are good in business that their parents were entrepreneurs and they've learnt from their parents, and that's where they've got their education from. So for me, there's education outside of school, which is very important, very, very important.
Critical.
But then why isn't that education in school as well? Like, why can't it be alongside what is currently there?
Some kids, yeah, like education is a challenge.
Yeah,
It's
but
a challenge. It's a challenge for them. Not only, I'm not saying they're dumb. I'm saying like to even sit, for me, from like the age of year 1 to I'd say year 4, to just sit down. To just sit down was hard. Just sit down and focus.
That's not my point though.
To then tell someone who has similar battles or stronger or those kind of battles to sit down and just focus on this thing, because it's hard.
That's not my point.
It's hard.
That's not my point. My point is, why isn't that in the curriculum alongside what's already there?
It should be. But I can understand. I think it's, again, I would say I would target that from like year 10 and above. There's some fundamentals to just learning that you need to understand, because like I said, mortgages, I still am just learning about how to get a mortgage, all the different plans in it. They're not small stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, it's not as easy as.
But I think if you set people up in the right way, that when they go out into the world, they will know more about it. So you shouldn't be still learning about it. You should know a considerable amount, and then be just adding things to your thing and topping it off, and then learning more and more and more. Like, there shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't know
I agree.
at minimum the basic definition of a mortgage.
Do you know what it is? I think the concepts are taught. Like a mortgage and borrowing money and loans, it's taught in school. Percentages, it's taught, but it's not the real world example. It's not given.
Yeah.
You can have Tommy has 4 apples. If you take 10%, like, who cares about apples and Tommy?
Yeah.
Give me
trying to break down the maths of it. Yeah.
You can break down the maths of it in
a
terms
real
of
world example.
The real world. But again,
yeah.
it's like, why is that not? Maybe it's down to just the teachers' hands may be tied and what they can deliver. Who knows?
So you think it's overall like a curriculum thing?
Yeah. I think curriculum, examples as well. Yeah. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes the examples are just like, who gives
trivial
about apples? But I think sometimes when the reason I say this is like, imagine you got a young team, a young football team that you're coaching, let's say under 9s or something. Imagine you're teaching them about pressing. You wouldn't break it down like, oh, you got to press in these angles like that. You wouldn't. You got to start with like, go to your man. Do you get what I'm saying? You break it down in really small chunks, so it's more digestible.
That's what I think is missing though, because there's nothing.
You don't get the scale bit.
It don't even start.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what a mortgage was until
like
my dad used to say mortgage. And I was like, I don't know what a mortgage is.
No, I hear you.
But yeah, I think we can agree that there is a need for education outside of school and inside of school as well. More than what's currently happening. Yeah. Final question. Each of you are given 100 bags. What do you do with it?
£100,000 for those.
£100,000, sorry.
Not down with the lingo.
From the hood.
Get me?
£100,000.
Yeah.
What do you do? You don't have to be specific in what you do as well. Just what do you do? Like, do you spend? Do you?
I think everyone. If I sat here and said, I'm going to invest in this, I'm going to start this bit, I'd be lying. I would do that.
Yeah.
But there would be a little bit of, there's some couple things I need.
Yeah.
But I think...
Get that Gucci belt, yeah?
No. I don't wear leather. I don't wear leather in it, so...
You ain't going to get a leather Gucci belt. It could be fabric.
This guy wants me to... No, I think I would definitely... The first thing I would think is, how do I make more?
Yeah.
That would be the first thing in my head. Like, how do I make more? How do I turn this into that? I would probably look into stocks more, and I would almost certainly start a business where I sell hours as opposed to product. I think you could go product. I would do further down the line. I think product businesses. Anyone that does it knows that it's a difficult business. It's difficult. You need a lot of capital, and I'd be scared personally that 100K could go like that. Especially that I'm starting with 100K. I might be a bit excited and. So I would think of a business that I can sell hours as opposed to people, diversify my income, and then small splash.
Yeah.
Small.
Small splash.
Might even just be like a crib, but
Yeah. That's not even a splash though. It's an asset.
Crib, what could we get for 100 bags, man?
no, I'm not gonna put the whole
mortgage
thing on the.
thing.
I was about to say, mortgage thing, yeah?
Yeah. What are you talking? Of course, bro.
Yeah, you still have to have the income for that, but okay.
True. True, because I've read somewhere that a house can be more of a liability than an asset.
Yeah, I have read that. That's why I said maybe a crib, maybe.
Yeah, I think my mindset will just be investing in different companies, stocks, shares, and then in and I would love to start again. I think a company that sells expertise, and as you said, hours rather than a physical thing, would be the avenue I would like to go down.
Honestly,
and donate as well.
I was gonna say first thing I'd do is give away. I'd give a charitable 10%. Donation to my parents because, well, to be fair, when I signed, the first thing I did was gave my parents peas before anything, and I believe that you need to give, even if it's time or money, you need to give, and I think once you give,
you're open to receive. You're
open to receiving. So I'd give away first. I also think you have to spend money to make money. Yeah. So I wouldn't put anything in savings. I'd treat like if I had like a stock account, not even a little bit. I put like a little bit for a rainy day, but I'd put it in stocks and stuff like that. Because when you even just on a technical basis, if you're thinking about a savings account, the interest that you generate from a savings account is like 2%, or probably less than 2%. Whereas if you put that into a portfolio, a stock portfolio, that can become 10%.
Some saving accounts do
over time. But that if you put it into stocks, that can become 5% or 10% very, very quickly, or not. So I'd treat stocks as a savings account, and try and use the money profit that I yielded from those to pay for my luxuries, like a car or like whatever drip or splash I wanted to get.
Gucci,
you know what I'm saying?
Jords is going for the Gucci belt.
I had one when I was 16 and I sold it in like a month, like an idiot. That was the first time I realized that, bruv. Remember, I bought it off of thingy, Saleh.
Is it real?
I bought it for $2. Yeah, I don't know. I sold it for $120.
I don't know if from him. I'm not sure, man.
I bought it for £200. I sold it for £120 a month later, and then I thought, bun that. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, the first thing I would do is give.
Yeah.
And then the rest I'd put it into things that can, in the long term, build me more profit, so that I'm all right. Yeah. Cool.
Diversify your portfolio.
Diversify that portfolio.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Trust me.